out. I can just do that in the editing side. Just take out the mandolin and the voice. The whole thing, really. Alright, let's start the show.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Hop Heroes, the show where we talk about our favorite drinks and our favorite heroes. I'm your host, Jordan Erith, and with me as always... Wait. Where's JR, you guys?
JR's not here.
Has anybody... No text messages.
Check under your drinks. JR.
Check under your... You just lift up your glass. Is he under your glass?
JR.
Hello.
No JR this week.
No.
Well,
so he's not with you as always, I guess.
This is gonna get dangerous. Parents are gone. Kids are left at home. What's gonna happen? Giddy up. All right. Well, in JR's place, we got our guy in the chair getting in front of the mic, Vinny McBroom. How you doing, buddy?
Yo, what up? What up? Doing well, man. Doing well. Seahawks win this week, so let's go. Let's keep it rolling.
Big dub. And the Rams lost.
Oh, that's right. That's even better.
That's
crazy.
Good.
Tampa.
I'm about to be 4-0 in my fantasy league, by the way.
Dude, that's crazy because my team is shit. So you're fucking killing it. Good
and this
job,
is
man.
this is the year that I literally stopped asking you for advice. You notice how there's been no questions for me this year.
Yeah.
And now I'm about to be 4-0. I think I'm onto something here.
Dude, good for you. Yeah, you have Antonio Brown in your starting lineup still, or
no, bro? I traded Antonio Brown for Emmanuel Sanders.
Oh, dude, that's huge.
I know, dude.
Great move.
I convinced somebody to trade me Emmanuel Sanders
fucking
for
scrub.
Right before it got really, really bad, I was like, okay, I gotta get rid of this guy.
I gotta dish this.
Yeah,
this trash.
yeah. I feel like I just handed off like a ticking time bomb. Like, ooh, thanks,
dude,
man.
That's the smoothest, dude.
What sucks is that I did it to my fiance's dad. So.
Your future father.
We were watching football.
Person to do that too.
Dude, I was watching football with him last night too, and people were talking about AB like, "Oh my god, he's so trash," and he was like silent in the circle, and I was just chiming in like, "Yeah, guys, well, he might come back eventually sometime. I'm not sure. He's not that bad." I was just trying to save face because I traded him for Emmanuel Sanders, dude.
At least his dad just staring at you.
Yeah, he's death staring at me, and I'm just like, well, he might come back again.
You never know. Dude, yeah. That's hilarious. I woke up this morning to a group text from my leagues, and it was a link that says Antonio Brown signs with Kansas City Chiefs. And I was like, what? And I clicked on the link, and it was just a big naked black dude with a huge dick. So I hook, line, and sinker fell for that one.
Yep. Sounds about right.
God, I hang out with very mature people, if you can't tell. And then, obviously, we're already talking about Zach Barlow, third on the mic.
What up, buddy? I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. I mean, just got back from Arizona. Had a long little week of a kind of vacation, kind of taking care of Sammy's mom. She had surgery. Everything went well. Everything's good there.
Nice.
Good.
So basically, just drank a lot of Wet Claws by the pool.
Nice, man. You deserved that, bro. You needed that, bro.
Good job, man. I had to unwind,
Hell yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
Except 2 3.5 hour flights with a dog, and a dog as vocal as Marcy is probably worse than a toddler. It was fucking hell. So.
You know what sucks worse than that? Not being you guys, but being somebody else on that flight. That's right? Just fuck these guys that have to travel with this dog.
We got seats in the far back just because we knew, and we were surrounded by fucking babies, which is god damn it. But also, I was worried about that and stressed about that, but I look around, everybody has headphones in, and the freaking engine's so loud that you can't really hear the dog, but I still, I feel the stress of the whole situation and the social anxiety, so I'm always shut the fuck up. Take a snack. Quiet down. Don't freak out. And it was miserable. So vacation was fun. Feels good to be home. Feels good to be back and ready to get back on the mic. Cool, yeah, man. So this week we're talking The Killing Joke, and the reason we're talking The Killing Joke is the Joker movie comes to theaters next weekend, and or this coming weekend, I should say. And there's a lot of hype about it. A lot of different. A lot of questions that I have. I'm sure you guys have some too, because one thing Todd Phillips, the director and writer, said that it's not from any comic book story arc.
I don't believe that.
I don't buy it either.
There's no way this dude wrote a brand new Joker arc. I feel like what's more probably closer to the truth is that he's pulling from a couple different arcs, and then he might sprinkle in some changes of his own to like make it new and different. But I feel like it's going to be a big pull from The Killing Joke. Like, if it's not, I'll be surprised. Like, it's probably not going to be word for word The Killing Joke, but my expert opinion on this is that, you know how you make barbecue sauce? It's like a shit ton of ketchup, and then you add a bunch of other shit to it to make barbecue sauce. We just had barbecue chicken sandwiches for the Seahawks game, so we just made barbecue sauce. I feel like The Killing Joke is like the ketchup of this. Like, sure, it's not ketchup technically, but like you're using a shit ton of ketchup to make whatever else you're about to make. That's what I think.
That's actually an incredible reference. I love that. That makes so much sense to me, a carnivore, that I love that, dude. That's perfect. Yeah, so we're talking ketchup. We're talking the meat of the episode, or the meat of the movie, in our opinion, Killing Joke by Alan Moore, and it's one of the most critically acclaimed comics out there. It's a standalone story, has its own animated movie. There's a lot of, if you haven't read it or seen it, get the fuck out there and do it, because it's incredible. So we're talking that, and to go along with the theme, we're drinking some wine, because we go from hops to heroes, but today we're going vineyards to villains, and we're doing.
I just feel like every time we talk villains, we end up drinking wine. Like that's like kind of what we got to do these days.
Yeah,
hops are for the heroes, and wine is for the villains.
And Vinny's rebelling with Ace of Spades beer because it makes sense as well. And he's not a big wine guy, but you know what? Freakshow Wine, Michael and David Winery. I see it all the time, and if you see it in the store, it's a carnival on the front, and it stands out. There's a big strong man hoisting up two guys, and there's over 100 freaks overall on the label. I've always seen it, but I've never pulled the trigger. And Zach was like, "Dude, let's pull the trigger on this." So I'm actually really excited to try it out. Just a brief history on the winery. Michael and David Phillips are brothers from the Phillips family. They're fifth generation winemakers. They actually started in Lodi, California, and they remain in Lodi, California. But the family started farming in that area in the 1850s. So they've been around for a fucking minute. They're actually one of the first vineyards to be put back into the market after Prohibition. Freakshow debuted in 2009, and when they first debuted it, it was just a 6,000 case batch just to kind of get it out there. And then the next time they brewed it, it was so popular that they did 170,000 cases in 2014. So in 5 years, it grew to just freaking fame. And there's a bunch of different types of Freakshow. There's Sauvignon Blanc. There's three or four different types. We're doing the Cabernet Sauvignon, the big bold cab. So with the Big Bold Cab, it's got its own little kind of process. Cabernet Sauvignon is one of the last grapes of the harvest. So because of that, they're allowed to do a technique called extended maceration, where they let the juice from the grapes remain in contact with the skin for up to a month after the fermentation process. And this gets to extract all the tannins from the skin, which gives it that bittery, unique kind of taste. So because it's one of the last grapes of the harvest, they get to let it stew in that and kind of pull out unique flavors, which I thought was really cool. Have you tasted it yet, Z?
I have.
You have? All right. What do you get from the nose on this thing, man?
It's definitely like a bold red. I get like a leather almost smell to it, like I feel like it would be like a nice like red cab in like a smoking chair with like a robe, I feel
like every time I ask what the nose is, you talk about what you're wearing and what you'd
because like
you'd be doing.
Because you know why? Because when I think about
in his head.
Exactly. That's it. Like when you're like, what do you get in the nose? I smell it, and then immediately I'm like transported to a scene, and I'm like, all right, where am I right now? Like, and I'm just describing to you where I'm at. There's like a fire blazing. There's like a big ass bookshelf, high backed velvety chair. I think that it smells leathery. It smells like robust. I don't really get like a fruit forward smell in it at all.
Really?
It's I don't know. To me, it's like a little. It's very robust and like dark.
I get like a.
Maybe a little like cherry.
I get like a cherry. Yeah, I was going to say, I get a cherry, almost like a vanilla cherry, almost like a Dr. Pepper when I smell it. It's got a little bit of sweet to it. And then I do get that smoke. So,
yeah.
One thing about this, it's aged, 40% of it is aged in French oak for up to 12 months, and then 60% of it is aged in neutral oak. And I didn't know what the fuck neutral oak was, so I looked it up. And neutral oak is basically after 3 sessions of the barrel being used, it no longer extracts any different unique flavors. So now it's just a barrel. So it's just neutral at that point. So only 40% has the French oak in it, so it doesn't have the most overwhelming flavor. And then when you drink it, it's not nearly as like sharp or dry as I thought it would be. I get like you don't have any fruit in the nose maybe, but you get a lot of fruit from the palate when you drink it.
Yeah, I do get more fruit from the palate, and it also it's almost like from the nose you expect like a kick, like it's gonna be kind of that like cab like feeling in the back of your throat, but it's quite smooth actually. Like it's very, I would call it mild.
Yeah, dude, this is very drinkable. I mean that's really good. It's I like a little bit drier typically, but depending on what you're going for, this is a delicious cab. So there's a reason that it's so popular and it's rose of fame. If you go to Michael and David's website, Freakshow pops up on the front. Like this is their cash cow to say. This is their big hoss. So when you ask the current winemaker what would you pair with this, the recommended meal is a filet mignon in béarnaise sauce with grilled asparagus. So for those of you out there that want to pair a good meal with this, look no further. Vinny, what you got over there? What's your deal? What you drinking?
So today I'm drinking Ace of Spades. It's a Imperial Indian Pale Ale, good old IPA from Portland brewery called Hopworks Urban Brewery, other known as Hub. Excuse me. It's a really good beer. This is the first time I've ever had this kind of beer. It's one of those traditional kind of like craft IPAs that you can only get in the 22-ounce bottle, you know. Big old brown bottle. You can't get it in a 6-pack or a can, so it's one of those more limited craft beers. From their website, it looks like it's one of their more popular ones. It's very I couldn't figure out what the word was when I was first trying it, but then looking at their website, kind of just the testing notes, it says spicy. And it's like, you know what, for a beer, it is pretty spicy. It's not just like the typical hops bite. It's more of like a spice taste bite. It's pretty citrusy. Little notes on their brewing process on this is they throw in local Northwest hops at every stage of the brewing process in traditional Portland style, you can say Oregon style really. They use all local stuff. Everything is eco-friendly. One thing that I kept seeing pop up that I thought was interesting is here's a quote, with locally sourced organic and salmon safe hops. And I thought that was kind of cool because people don't really throw that out, but with us growing up in the Pacific Northwest, you know how important the salmon wildlife is around here.
Dude, yeah.
You know,
the restrictions just keep growing on salmon fishing,
which is great, but it also sucks because I love me some salmon, man. Like,
I know.
Brianna cooks me like a salmon meal almost every week just because I love that fucking fish.
Come out to Alaska, bro. Got plenty of it up here.
I'll have to come visit soon. Another quick little thing about them. It's it's fairly new brewery. It was 2007 by a guy named Christian. I think it's Ettinger. He's the original brewmaster, the OB.
The OB. I love that.
They got 3 different locations, all in Portland. It looks like 2 of them are on 2 different sides of the city. One of them is at their airport, and they also got a little pub restaurant in Vancouver, Washington. So just on our side of the border. They got a hub. So yeah, it's a pretty good beer. This beer is I think it's at 8.6%. It said.
That's a big boy,
dude. So yeah,
right,
it's
Vinny's getting twisted.
Yeah, 8.6. That's why I was kind of confused when I first tried it. I was expecting it to be like really heavy, but it's not heavy at all. It's very drinkable.
It looks clear, like in the glass. Doesn't look like it's too thick.
It's definitely got that citrus like look and taste. It's just kind of got like I said, it's like a spice. It's not like a heaviness of the hop. It's more of a bite of a flavor.
Interesting.
Yeah,
nice little fall.
Yeah.
Nice little fall beer.
No, it's nice too because you guys were like, "Oh, we're gonna do wine," and I was like, "I don't want to do wine." So I opened up my fridge and saw this in there, and I typically have.
That was already in there.
Yeah, well, I typically have a nice assortment of beer in my fridge just because I like having friends and family over quite often, so they're always leaving stuff over here. So it's like. I got beer here that's different shit all the time. This is
your fridge. Your fridge is a lost and found of your friends and family.
Yeah, I want to give a special shout out to Chelsea because I'm pretty sure she left this over here last time we had a barbecue. She came over with like a few different bottles of these kind of beers. So
damn, that was a fun night.
Yeah, you were there, Zach. That was a fun night.
Yeah.
That was your barbecue, right? That was the last time you cooked for us.
Yeah.
Oh,
I fucked.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Zach's very proud of his smoking techniques and his ribs.
Are we
And
doing
all I
this on
saw-
air right now? Is what we're gonna
We
do?
have to. It's already happened. It's already started. We're already halfway
Christ.
through, and I appreciate Zach's cooking. I don't think I've had Zach's cooking, but I've seen the videos and the pictures that he sends us of the effort he puts in, and the story of getting up every half hour in the middle of the night and spritzing the ribs, or doing whatever you have to do. And then all I saw after Vinny had a party in the group chat was, Vinny, I'm sorry about those ribs, man. That was not up to my standards. Like, he was so dead serious.
Dude, okay, so
Apologetic.
yeah, here's the thing. I take smoking pretty seriously. I'm a pretty good cook. Like, I really enjoy cooking, and I have one rule though, and my specialty is like meat and like barbecuing, grilling, sautéing, and smoking especially. But I have one rule if I'm gonna smoke for like a party or something is that you can't use sauce because it's insulting. So like you can't use like if I sit down to eat with you and you eat something I cooked and you pull out a barbecue sauce and start to smother my perfection with your garbage ass barbecue sauce, then like I'm insulted. So that was the rule. So I made the ribs and everything else, and I brought the ribs over, and the ribs were mad dry. And they
And
needed
you wouldn't let people
they
use
needed
sauce?
that day. Yeah, they did. But what's wild is I put sauce on it. And so everybody had to like struggle through these dry ass ribs because they wouldn't like add more sauce to it because they like know. I don't even think there was sauce at the house. Actually, I was like, I'll come over, but you got to get rid of all your barbecue.
Cleared
sauce
out the sauce from
Yeah,
the
Zach was making a big stink about it in the group chat.
I fucked it up, bro. Hey, you swing and you miss, dog. But I was swinging for the fences, and there's got to be some respect
No,
there.
it all started with we
Ribs
had
are
a
tricky.
barbecue before that, and you made some. I can't remember exactly what you made, but it was really
Brisket.
good.
Fire, bro.
Yeah, it was really good. And
Usually I'm pretty good. Like that, I had an off day.
Yeah,
I
me
had
and
an
our buddy.
But you
Marcel,
owned it, dog.
We
You owned that
found
shit.
some barbecue sauce, so we were like, being like arrogant, drunk, like, oh man, this barbecue sauce is so good as we're eating the meat, and it's just irritating the shit out of Zach. He's like not trying to pay attention to us. He's like looking the other way. But you can see
That's
in his
all I can
eye,
think about.
he's just like this fire building inside of him. He's just so like, yeah. So the whole build up for that next barbecue, he was like, "There's no barbecue sauce. There's none. This and that. You're gonna have to throw it all away."
So Zach is Batman and the Joker is barbecue sauce. Is basically what we're at. Just fucking
Constantly at odds with each other.
They don't
Burning.
want each other, but they need each other just as much.
Exactly. Oh, that's perfect. Oh man, good times. All right, well let's go a little bit. So it's a very quick read. If you read The Killing Joke, it's 46 pages. It came out in 1988. Vinny, since you are our stand-in JR, you want to give a little segment of story times to kind of fill the listeners in on what they need to know about The Killing Joke.
Bling! Story time with Vinny today. All right. So The Killing Joke. Yeah, so we decided to choose The Killing Joke because of we thought this book would relate to the upcoming movie with starring Joaquin Phoenix and directed by Todd Phillips. First off, this was the first time I ever read about it, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about it because I know you've read it.
I'm stoked about that
Because
Like,
I think
I'm glad that
I
get
don't know, we
somebody
might
that is
differ.
their
I know.
first time.
Anyways, so I'm just gonna start with this. This is the back cover synopsis on the new deluxe edition because originally this book came out in 88.
88.
Yeah, 1988, and they revised it in 08. So here it is. One bad day. According to the grinning engine of madness and mayhem known as the Joker, that's all that separates the sane from the psychopathic. Freed once again from the confines of Arkham Asylum, he's out to prove his deranged point, and he's going to use Gotham City's top cop, Commissioner Jim Gordon, and his brilliant and beautiful daughter, Barbara, to do it. Now, Batman must race to stop his arch nemesis before his reign of terror claims 2 of the Dark Knight's closest friends. Can he finally put an end to the bloodlust and lunacy that links these 2 iconic foes before it leads to its fatal conclusion? As the horrifying origin of the Clown Prince of Crime is finally revealed, will the thin line that separates Batman's nobility and the Joker's insanity snap once and for all? And so that's pretty much.
I got goosebumps.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to read this, is because I felt like this was a really good back cover synopsis of the book. So I think we touched on this earlier. This is written by Alan Moore, legendary writer.
Genius ass.
Did Watchmen, V for Vendetta.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Alan Moore, but he's a genius writer just because no one else could come up with that kind of shit. This book was illustrated by oh shoot, I have it on the wrong page. Sorry, guys. Which honestly, I think the art of
Brian Bolland, isn't it?
It's Ballard. I don't know if it's Ryan
Ballard?
though. It's Brian Bolland.
That's what I said.
Oh,
Brian Bolland.
Ace of Spades. It's the Ace of
Ace of
Spades.
It's hitting, baby.
The Ace of Spades. Anyways,
He hate her,
which honestly, this graphic novel looked beautiful. I thought the art in this book was really good. Some of those images of Joker were just crazy.
Yeah, fucking the face with his head. He's like when he first gets like turns.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that. I love that panel.
And I thought it was really cool with the link up between Moore and Ballard. This was more of a collab story where typically it's the writer comes up with the story and the artist just picks up the pace and fills in the blanks. This was more of a collab. Ballard has actually stated that he came up with a lot of the ideas, even though he felt cringy. He said drawing the origin story for the Joker because he always liked to believe that it's kind of a non-Joker or non-origin kind of like villain,
That's right. I feel that.
That's kind of how
like the mystery of where he came from. Should have stayed a mystery.
Once you come up with an origin story, you destroy that mystery. But both these two guys hailing from the old country of England, Britain, they were a pretty good team up. They both were well known in doing certain different stuff. I thought it was really cool about this one because, like we said, it's origin story of Joker, but it's loosely adapted by the 1951 story arc, The Man Behind the Red Hood, which was the original Joker origin story, which is honestly, I went back and read that just because I wanted to see how well it linked up, and it was almost exactly the same, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Another cool thing I thought about this book was not so much of just this art, but the storytelling was really great with the flashbacks. Because I feel like you can't tell... It's hard to just jump into an origin story because sometimes they'll just you'll be reading an arc and then they'll just drop an origin story. And then that origin story is 1 or 2 issues. Like this... The origin story and the Killing Joke came in as flashbacks, so it was nice to go back to seeing the Joker try to get his plan with Gordon and his Barbara, and then going back to what he believes was his breaking point of sanity.
Yeah, and I think that in itself is where Ballard really captured. I mean, really showed off what he was capable of because the transitions were so smooth. There's a transition when Joker falls into the vat or the river, or whatever, and he starts laughing, going crazy, and he's putting his hands over his face, and then it cuts to Gordon doing the same thing, and that's what Joker's trying to establish here. He's trying to drive Gordon crazy, and it's a seamless panel to panel. And there's also ones where he does it with raindrops in a puddle, and it'll go from the past to the present. And also in the deluxe edition, He only has one item in when they do flashbacks, they're all black and white, and he leaves one item illuminated in red, and it's obviously the Red Hood is one of them, but everything else, there's always one item that's red in each panel, and it's just such a creative masterpiece from both sides, writing and illustrating.
And I want to touch up on that Red Hood part, just because being the first time I ever read this, the only time it talks about Red Hood and the Killing Joke is during a flashback. So while I'm reading that, I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, Red Hood wasn't, because I'm thinking like fucking old school, Robin Hood, Red Hood, like shooting up everybody, doing that kind of stuff. So I had to look back and be like, oh damn, Red Hood was actually this like mafia gangster that would rob stuff, and it was like an identity that kept getting changed. So it's wild to see that being how the Joker became the Joker in a sense, because it was just something out of left field for me. I had no idea, was not expecting
he had
it.
anything to do with the Red Hood.
Yeah, but the one thing will say is like it kind of took me off guard to a point where it almost rubbed me the wrong way, because I went out of my way to look up like why they're referencing Red Hood. I was like, are they just... So, I thought they were just name dropping like a DC character because of the similarity of like a red helmet. So I was kind of like turned off by it at first, but then like after I looked it up, I was like, oh no, I'm just wrong and ignorant. That's just like I'm just wrong. So then like after having that, I felt like I enjoyed it a little bit better, because I had to read it. I read it twice, and I will say the first time I read it, I'll get into it later.
So wait, you ended up going back and reading the origin of the Red Hood then?
No. I read that one issue that
Joker came out of.
Here, let me tell you a little bit more about that issue. So in that issue, this
is Detective Comics, right?
This is the Detective Comics one back in, what did I say it was? 1951. So it's kind of like he was the Red Hood and he's on his final heist kind of thing, sort of like how they were building up the Killing Joke. But in the Killing Joke, he was like a random dude that was just kind of filling a hole in a job.
Yeah, like that day they're like, here, put this on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where like in the old Detective Comics, like he was the Red Hood. And this is another thing why I thought the Ace of Spades came in. So the chemical factory that like he jumped into in the old comic where he became the Joker was the Ace playing card company factory.
And in the Killing Joke, it's next to a playing card factory.
Yes, like that's why I wanted to go back, and I was actually glad I read that old issue, which you could find digitally to read online. I can't remember what the website was, but anyways, but it's almost...
Didn't they do that in Gotham too? Didn't they have the Red Hood story arc in Gotham?
Kind of. It had like a weird... you're talking about the TV series, right?
Yeah, I never watched it.
Yeah, I watched quite a bit of it, but it was sort of kind of like that. It had to do with the bank heist, but I just thought it was pretty cool that Roger Moore did his research and was like, before he went and wrote an origin story, he was like, what's the real origin story,
Roger Moore?
Alan Moore.
Excuse me, Alan Moore. Yeah, fucking 007 over here, Roger Moore.
Don't disrespect Alan Moore, dog.
don't disrespect Roger Moore, bro.
Oh man, we're such a...
But no, I was really surprised about this comic just because it was an origin story that almost I didn't know existed already.
How? So that's interesting.
I didn't know that either, bro. So that's dope. Good take.
Yeah, you went deep in the archives for that.
Yeah,
that's
you went
dope,
deep,
man.
dog. That's going deep.
Appreciate that.
It was all because of that Red Hood reference. Just like I was like reading it, and like don't get me wrong, I love this graphic novel, but there was times too where Brianna's like, "What are you laughing about?" And there's a part where a few panels where he's singing like a song to Gordon going through that like fun house,
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm singing as the Joker, like reading those panels. So I'm like laughing to myself. So it's like this book I feel like had a lot of good stuff in it, but it was just that one Red Hood reference that just bugged the shit out of me. So that's why I had to dive deep and figure out why Red Hood was in this. And I'm kind of glad I did, because it's like, fuck, Joker has an actual origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he has several, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, like, this is like the OG one, 1951, dude.
Yeah, this is a reference to like the original. I mean, Detective Comics.
Yeah,
you can't get much older than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a great summary of what the comic's about, and even like the origin of where it came from. There's one one line that I kind of highlighted that kind of makes it seem like kind of envelops the whole story, and it's all it takes is one bad day to reduce the sanest man alive to lunacy.
Yep.
Which is basically what Joker's trying to
his whole
establish
point.
here.
His whole point. That's basically what he believes is what happened to him. And I think that like the really interesting push pull of the entire book is how he's making that point that it just takes one bad day to reduce like somebody who would be considered sane into lunacy, and even further, he's making the point that him and Batman are not that different. Like they're actually not that different. Where like it's easy to see these two entities as diametrically opposed, and in the Joker's mind, he's like, it just takes one little thing to happen to you, and then you become me. Do you know what I mean? And he tries to make that happen through kidnapping Gordon and taking him through the thing. And I feel like that's an interesting conversation that we should have towards the end of this. Like, is he right or is he wrong? You know what I mean? Like that's like the question. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I guess we can get to that, but I agree, and I think that's this whole overwhelming storyline. Like, basically, Joker paralyzes Barbara, shoots her through the spine, and it was a gruesome surprise. I mean, she opens the door and he's wearing like a fucking tourist outfit, like a Tommy Bahama shirt, and he has like a camera hanging by his fucking neck and there's some really humorous parts in this, and then it gets so dark so quick. And as he's wearing that, he's holding a revolver at the door, blows her through the spine.
At that one day, like it takes one day to go insane. No, I want to mention like that is the complete vibe I get from the new Joker trailers, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like
150%. That's what I mean. I think that's why nobody here knows exactly what we're doing, like what we're gonna see in the movie. But what we do know is that he starts off seemingly normal. He's in a subway, and then he tries to start doing stand-up comedy. And in this Killing Joke, he works at a chemical shop, and he hates his job. So then he tries to do stand-up comedy, and he fails at that. But there's that one scene in the trailer where he's like, "Can you introduce me as the Joker?" Like before he goes out. And so, yes, I feel like there's a lot of similarities between Joaquin Phoenix trailers, at least, and the things that happen in the Killing Joke.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
I also feel like the vibe of the trailer, like the music and the coloring and shit of it, it's like, bro, this is looking real Alan Moore-y to me.
Well, 100%. And
not only that, I want to say is because like the one thing I kept getting from the trailer was the talk show. You know, Robert De Niro's the talk show host, and they keep showing him go on the talk show. And the comic arc, the story arc that I was pushing was Dark Knight Returns. And you guys were like, no, you have to read The Killing Joke because this is the true origin story. So after reading The Killing Joke, I'm glad we're doing it on this one. But I know from Dark Knight Returns, there's a huge like talk show massacre scene that goes on. So just from seeing the trailers of him being on a talk show, I feel like we might see a freaking talk show massacre, and that's the reason why I mentioned that story arc to you guys. So I feel like
that's like the spice that makes
that's the brown sugar or something.
That's that brown sugar right there.
Yeah,
that's that brown sugar.
Yeah, dog.
Yeah. So I mean,
brown sugar is.
Yeah, he may say that it's not based on any comic, but they're definitely taking polls from a whole bunch of story arcs.
Dude, he's just keeping people interested and keeping on their like. He wants people confused and not expecting anything.
I mean,
I think they're doing a great job with the trailer with that because there is little snippets, but we have no fucking idea what's going to happen.
Agreed.
Right?
We don't even know what the plot is really.
I love that.
And I think that like it's much more effective to be like, oh no, this is original story, than to say, yeah, we pulled from The Killing Joke, we pulled from Dark Knight Returns, we pulled from this issue at this point. Because then it's just like, oh, I already know what happens in the movie. Do you know what I mean?
Collage.
I mean, that's our job. Right? That's our job.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, if you have expectations, then they have to live up to them. And at this point, there's no expectations because you don't know what the fuck to expect. So, like, I think it's just a genius move. And essentially, just to
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to finish off. I feel like we just need to let people know what the Killing Joke is, like what the storyline is, and it's very basically like we're saying. Joker's trying to prove a point to Batman that there are two sides of the same coin. All it takes is one bad day, and he kidnaps Gordon, paralyzes Gordon's daughter, strips her down, takes pictures of her while she's bleeding out, and kidnaps Gordon, puts him naked in a carnival freak show, which is hence the wine, and puts him through this carnival ride of terrors and puts this huge screen of his daughter bleeding out naked all around him and all these freaks and everything around him just to make sure that he gets like the most potent exposure to
the shittiest day possible
trip. Yeah. And then like Batman shows up and he tries to prove Batman that he can drive the sanest man lunatic, which is Gordon. And Gordon, this is when I first read this book, we had this argument. I thought Gordon was a bitch because Batman shows up and Gordon's like, go get Joker, but do it by the book. And I was like, bro, fuck that. Bring me his fucking head, dog. And then
all right, I got to jump in here. So you think I think that you're I think I slightly disagree because what you're saying is that the Joker is. I agree with you up to an extent actually, because the Joker is definitely trying to prove that it only takes one bad day to make a sane person insane. Like that's pretty explicit. But I don't think honestly that he's actually trying to use Gordon as the example. He's trying to make Batman the example, and he's using Gordon to make Batman that example. And the metric or the vehicle that he's using to do that are these two opposing ideas of killing and not killing. The Joker will kill people, and that is that's like how insane he is. He's a mad lunatic. The Batman is all about order. He will never kill you, no matter what. He will only ever just take you in. Right? So the Joker is actually using Gordon, using his daughter to bring Batman in to provoke the Batman into killing him or anybody, because that's proving his point. If the Batman kills the Joker, then the Joker is correct. And that one bad day can push somebody to the brink of being insane. And in the Joker's mind, that's murder.
Can we say that maybe that Bruce Batman was having just as bad as a day as Gordon?
That's what I was going to ask.
He was. That's what I'm saying. So Gordon's having a shitty day, but Batman's having a shitty day because Batman's having to go through all this shit. And so when Gordon is telling Batman, and I think this is the original argument that we got into, when he's saying do it by the book, what Gordon's actually saying is like, don't give in, like stay sane, like do not let him win.
Right. Which I see now, but at the time, in the moment, when I read the panels, I was like, bring me his head. So I'm just saying, if I was Gordon, I wouldn't have that integrity to say, do it by the book. I was like, bring me his fucking head.
And you know what's an interesting thing about that line is that I feel like on the surface, if you just read it, the first thing you'll think is like, that's fucking cheesy. That's so cheesy. Like, oh, do it by the book. Like, you're just this cop that always follows the rules. But I feel like if you dive deeper into it, it's like, don't let him win. Like, there's a physical battle, but then there's also this, like, fucking mental, like, battle going
100%.
on, like, of ideologies between these two diametrically opposed forces in the Joker and Batman. And Gordon is, like, trying to push Batman to staying on the right side. And so, that's a great panel.
It is. And I'm always somebody that reacts before I think. So in that scenario, I just know what I would do.
Yeah, I have something to add to that, but it's going to the end.
I was on the same boat as you, Jordan. After reading that, I was like, exactly. Bring me his head. Fuck that. But after hearing Zach's explanation, I could take a step back and look at that and be like, damn, that is the genius of Alan Moore. Like, fuck.
So the funny thing is, we actually did this for an episode when we first started Hop Heroes. Yeah. Back in the Dizzy, back in 2017. And I got in a huge argument with Zach. Most of the time we fought about how I didn't like Tim Burton, and Zach was really offended. But
there's a quote from Tim Burton on the cover of this for some fucking
exactly. That's why we got to it.
Why?
Because Tim Burton's a fucking genius.
Yeah, but like once I see a quote from Tim Burton, I'm already expecting some fucking kooky fucking shit.
Which is exactly what you got, bud.
I know. Which I still haven't told you guys what I think about the book. But
no, we'll get there.
I feel like you're about to make me really mad.
I know. I'm excited. Vinny
you
was
tell me
me.
This book is trash, bro.
Vinny was me. Out. I never thought it was trash, but I did think that it was. I thought I was pissed off with Gordon, and I do see what you're saying. How he's trying to get Batman the whole time, but honestly, Batman had to like travel to the asylum and then travel to the freak show and then like, oh my god, like run through the fucking carnival. But like he didn't have to do any, like Gordon had a worse day than Batman. Like there's no doubt about it. His daughter gets paralyzed and then put in front of him.
But Batman
murder.
also knew hit the daughter too. Like that was a blow for him too. Like don't downplay that.
I'm not downplaying that.
It was different feelings that they were having. I feel like Gordon was like, having coffee with his daughter, chilling at their apartment or whatever, and then Barbara gets shot, and then he gets knocked out and taken to this, and then gets witnessed all these photographs that no one should ever fucking see of their own daughter or, of anybody in their family. But Batman has to feel guilty because you got to remember the beginning of this book started with Batman interrogating what he thought was the Joker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Batman has to have a different sort of emotion that, like, guilt, because it's almost his fault that the Joker is still loose.
How is it
Batman...
Batman's fault?
No. I'm just saying, like, as a person, when you have if you have something that's presented to you and you have to choose a different path of the forked road, you know what I mean? So Batman obviously chose not to kill the Joker. If Batman chose to kill the Joker in the past, Barbara would have never gotten paralyzed. Gordon would have never had to gone through all of that. Like,
but that wasn't just Batman's choice. Gordon had that same choice, I imagine. Like, Gordon is the chief of police. Isn't he?
I would 100% bet that, like, if Batman went and killed the Joker, the fucking commissioner of police, Gordon, would just, turn cheek.
I don't know, man. That's what I disagree with that. I think Gordon would be like, you cross the line, we can no longer work together. Because Gordon is more noble, I would say, than Batman with his decision making.
Okay,
but
I think Gordon and Batman exist on the same side of the spectrum. I think it'd be hard to argue. Sure. I'll that's fine. He's
just
more
because of the ending.
I don't know if he's more. I feel like
just because of the ending. I think that Batman has a little more dark side.
This ending, I did not like this ending.
The Joker wins. Like, we're there. I'm gonna say it. He wins. Right. He's correct.
So the ending. There's a joke, the killing joke, and Joker tells a joke, and it's about the two guys breaking out of an insane asylum, and they're trying to escape. I mean,
one dude has a flashlight and is showing the path to escape, and the other one says, he's like, "Here, I'm lighting up the path. You could go walk across this wooden beam." And he's like, "All right."
They're on two different rooftops.
Yeah,
so
and he goes, "I'm not gonna walk across that. You're gonna move the light halfway through. What do you think I am, crazy?"
Yeah, so it's not crazy that you can run across a light beam, but it's crazy to think that. Like he thought he could actually do it, but his buddy would fuck him over. Like, that was the crazy part of it. And then
it's crazy to believe that somebody else can show you the path. So the Joker and the Batman are
little bearded bitch, man, and your fucking deep takes. I love it.
I don't have anything prepared for this episode. Nothing.
It's crazy to think that somebody else can show you the path. That's fucking gold. Man. I love that.
bro. I'm not done. Let me go.
Like, I had no idea.
Let's keep interrupting him so he gets irritated. Let's just keep interrupting him.
All right, listen. So the Joker and the Batman are actually so fucking similar. Originally, they both were fairly regular guys. Sure, he was a billionaire, but fairly regular guys that suffered through a super fucking tragic, life-altering event. But then they went in completely different ways. So if you before that tragic event, if you kind of put them in the same box, they're both escaping the same prison. They're both from the same insane asylum or whatever that may be. So that's the parallel there. Then, once that tragic event happens, they both go in completely opposite directions. Batman goes in like, I'm going to be heroic, and I'm never going to hurt anybody, and I'm going to, like, make Gotham a better place. Joker goes in, like, full fuck it mode. Like, I don't give a fuck, I'm going to kill everybody, so on and so forth. So they're on opposite sides of the beam. Batman believes, though, that his way is righteous. And so he's the one with the flashlight showing the way. Like, hey, we both came from this fucking situation, but I'm the righteous person. I'm doing the right thing. You can do it too. Like, I'm going to keep you bringing to Arkham. Like, when he brings Joker to Arkham, it's not to lock him up. It's to rehabilitate him. It's to, like, get him back to being sane. Like, get him back on the right path.
Gordon makes a point of that, too. When he says, bring him in by the book, we need to show him the right way. Or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
And the Joker is saying, so Batman's shining the light like, hey, you should follow me. And then the Joker's saying, like, that's fucking hilarious that you feel like you can show me the way. because you're just gonna fuck me over in the end. And then at the end of this, and then if you circle all the way back to the very beginning, the Joker basically is saying, like, we're the same. It's just going to take one bad day. If you kill anybody, then you're going to be just like me. We're going to be exactly the same. Now you're just a fucking masked murderer just like me. And at the very end, it's debatable what happens, but I believe he kills the Joker. I believe he snaps the Joker's neck.
Yes.
And so once he does that, yes, he kills the Joker because the laughing stops abruptly. But once he does that, the Joker is correct. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So when the Joker says, you think you can show me the way, you're just going to pull the light out from me, you're just like me. Batman kills the Joker in that moment, making that joke true.
So I feel, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, Vinny, but did you pick that up when you read the comic?
No.
The Heat.
No.
So this is pulled from the animated movie, Zach, not the comic.
I watched the animated movie.
Yeah,
I've read both and I've seen both.
In the comic, how
Right.
it ends with the panels is they're both laughing. You know, it's the rain hitting the puddle, and then the last panel is the rain hitting the puddle with no laughter and no shadows from either of them. So
right. So it's you can assume.
Yeah,
you jump to that conclusion.
What I got from it was one of those endings where it's never going to be really answered. It's kind of like, did you guys watch Lost?
Yes.
No.
Like nothing really got answered. You know what I mean? Like it.
They were dead the whole time. Kind of, bro.
Anyways,
sorry, Zach. Spoil that for you.
But but what I'm getting at is like I feel like it's one of those artistic endings where it leaves the reader or consumer to just kind of create almost like what their own ending is, because there is no, like, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I think this happened, and then you ask more what happened, and he's like, oh, I don't know.
He won't tell you.
Exactly, you know what I mean?
So the question is do you think I'm right or do you think I'm wrong?
Well, what I was going to ask before, like, let me ask you this before I answer that, is what happens at the very end of the animated movie? Because I never watched it.
So the animated movie, first off, pissed me off.
What does it piss you off, Jordan?
Things.
There was
things and stuff.
I remember two specific scenes where I was like, "What the fuck are we doing
So
here?"
the thing that sucks about the animated movie is it makes a love story between Barbara and Batman, which never occurred in the comic, and it was super forced and super awkward.
Why is DC so bad at their animated
They fuck on a rooftop when he's like training
smash.
her, and it's like. What? Yeah. He's like her dad or like her like it's really fucking weird.
Anyways, just how does it end? I just want to know how it ends.
So it goes to the end, and it has the scene where he's holding it by his throat and he's laughing, and then it pans away. But the reason that I think he dies is because it doesn't have any like snap or anything like that. But if you watch movies with closed captioning like I do, it says the laughing stops, and then then it like goes out to credits. It tells you he stops laughing.
It abruptly stops.
And that's what happens in the panels too.
Yeah.
So I feel like the art portrays a way so like they're laughing, but then the panels still show that same scene, which is not them, it's the puddle, and I understand like that can be viewed in different ways. But the text for laughing is no longer there, but the art of where they are at the moment still continues, which I feel like in my opinion means that the laughing stops basically. But they're still there. Like it's still happening.
The joke is over
in real time. But the laughing, they start laughing, and then they stop laughing.
And the name, Joker, the killing joke. Joke led to
Joker tells the joke. Batman laughs at the joke with him, and then Batman snaps, killing the Joker, and then proving the Joker right the entire time.
And you could be right.
The only thing that weirds me out about that, or it makes me not want to, because I think that's the coolest ending, is that the Joker didn't win, didn't prove anything right, because Gordon was still sane, and Batman even admits that. He's like, he's as sane as he was before he started.
Gordon wasn't the target.
But like, that's what I was about to say.
I just truly don't believe Gordon was the target. Gordon was a pawn.
If Batman killed the Joker, if that's how it truly ended, then yes, Batman was the original target. If Joker wasn't killed by the Batman, then I believe Gordon was the original target. Because
I think that on the surface it looks like Gordon is the target, but I think that the whole time he's trying to prove it to Batman. Like he wants Batman to snap.
Oh, dude, that's the whole ideology of Joker. That's his whole goal, right? He doesn't really care about mass destruction.
I mean, it's important
he wants
to say
the
too,
Batman to see that they're so similar.
And it's important to say too that like, I mean, we're all speculating here, and that's the beauty of the story is that nobody actually knows what happens and anything. So like, I could be wrong.
The beauty and the frustrating part of
the
story.
genius of Alan Moore, man.
I could be wrong, but I will just say this on air.
Genius.
I feel fucking super confident in my stance
your
here.
theory.
Like I'm,
it's convincing, bro.
Like, I'm asking you guys, like, what do you guys think?
No,
I think he kills him. I
don't think he does because I don't know. I don't know why.
You're such a JR. You're such a JR. You're perfect.
Hey, I'm supposed to take his spot. Dude. This is like my only day.
You're like, wait a minute, we can't all agree here. Fuck. All right, no, he doesn't.
No, he's like he has good in him. If he does it, then who is the Batman?
And we can't all agree.
Bro, he's
on
just
this show.
he's the Joker. He's the same as the Joker.
I think so too.
No, man, I love it.
I want to bring up this panel.
We went deep into this story. Damn, that's wild.
If it wasn't a standalone, I think he doesn't kill. But if it is a standalone, Alan Moore writes it. He fucking snaps his neck.
Okay, I hear you on that. I just want to say this one panel that's it's two technically that stood out to me a lot. To set up the scene, this is where Gordon has already gone through the funhouse. Batman is now running through the funhouse trying to find Joker, and Joker is on a microphone over a loudspeaker through the full funhouse. And this is Joker walking into the House of Mirrors, or Room of the Mirrors, or whatever you want to call it. And this is Joker talking to the Batman. I mean, what is it with you? What are you even made of? What made you what you are? Girlfriend killed by the mob? Maybe. Brother carved up by some mugger? Something like that, I bet. Something like that happened to me, you know. I'm not exactly sure what it was. Sometimes I remember it one way, sometimes another. If I'm going to have a pass, I prefer it to be multiple choice. And
love that.
And
love that line.
That is honestly, I think, one of the most important panels in this comic book because it's Alan Moore taking a note from that original 1951 Detectives Comics issue, throwing it in here, but also hinting at the point that Joker still doesn't have an origin. You know? By saying, like, this could have happened, but it also could just be some fucking weird flashback that this lunatic is having.
Which is the saving grace of not ruining the character, because the mysterious nature of Joker is what makes him a legend. I mean, a lot of shit he does makes him a legend, but that is the best part. So to keep it up in the air still is it makes me
I
so
think it's
happy.
a selfless move too. Like it's like, I don't know Alan Moore, but I feel like when I hear that, I think like as a writer, like that's a fucking selfless ass move because the story that doesn't affect the story. You could have easily not done that and had just as good of a story. But like you add that little dialogue in, and what it does is it essentially takes away any legitimacy of this story that you're telling as like a staple in the lore. And I feel like as a writer and a creator, like it's you're kind of naturally wanting to have that position in anything you do. Like you want to be remembered. You want your work to be there forever. So I feel like it's going against like a natural creative instinct, which is wanting to be there forever and being known for something special and saying, hey, this might not have ever happened. It doesn't matter. Because he's like trying to preserve the mystique of the character. And so like that's like big ups to Alan Moore. Like that's a selfless ass move. I don't know if I could have done that. I probably would have been like, nah, bro, this is fucking what happened. Jeez.
I was there.
I feel like a lot of people probably would have done that. You know what I mean? So that's cool.
Yeah, I like that.
I think one thing that's genius about him too is the way he writes, especially this Killing Joke, makes you want to reread it because there's like things like what I just talked about, what we just picked up on about how this story may not be true, and then there's things that Zach has shown a light on that I had no idea about, maybe Batman snapping his neck and that Batman was the original target. So I feel like the way he writes,
there's layers, man.
There's layers, so he makes sure that you miss things so that you want to go back and reread it. And then,
are you gonna reread it now, thinking like maybe Batman's the original target?
I might, but I will, just because it's a short story. But I was thinking
with that, let's go into Craft and Trash, man. I want to hear your fucking opinion on this, dude.
I don't want to
Is
go
it craft
first.
or is it trash?
I don't wanna go
You don't want to go first? All right.
No. Oh, man, I'm preparing to like go to fucking war.
Zach will go after Vinny. I'll go first.
All right.
It's craft for 110%. Is craft. It's not even close to trash. This is one of my favorite comics. When I first read this, I gave it a 9 because I liked it, but I didn't like Gordon's reaction, and I didn't like giving Joker an origin. But after discussing it, after getting Zach's, it's my. What are you raising your hand for?
I just wanted to ask you. Go ahead. You can finish.
God damn it! After talking with Zach mainly and getting his philosophy on Alan Moore's real meaning, and also after the multiple choice thing and really thinking about it, I give this one a fucking 10. This is my first 10 that I've given.
Wow.
I think. And
That was my question. I should have just waited.
I fucking love The Killing Joke, man. I liked it a lot when I first read it, and I like it even more the second time, which I think speaks to its nature of just how good it is and how good Alan Moore is. But I'm a huge fucking Alan Moore jockey. Like,
Me too.
I loved Watchmen, changed my life.
I think he's a genius.
This is incredible. I personally loved League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I know Jared didn't like it. I thought it was really good. I never read V for Vendetta, but I'm sure we'll do an episode on that. I 10. You got to read this, especially if you like the Joker, and if you want to see the movie. I think you have to read this because I think there's going to be a lot of ties. Vinny, dish to you.
All right, I'll go next.
Before Vinny, let me do this one thing. So when you read it the second time, because we went through this once, and then this is the second time we went through it. We had that conversation. You kind of mentioned the conversation that we've had, very similar to the conversation we just had now. Was that in your mind when you were reading it the second time? Like, were you like not actively, but like, were you like trying to look for other things, or do you think that influenced like your experience of it the second time at all, or?
Yeah, I think that when I said it has layers, I think that the first layer is just like taking it all in, and the second layer is you have an idea of what's there, so now you can kind of dig a little deeper as you read the panels. Like, you don't have to like read a panel and soak on it for a night. You can read it and already have some base, like some foundation to build off of, so you can get a little bit more out of each panel. So when I read it, I already had my preemptive thoughts, but I also had our conversation in the back of my mind. So I was considering that the whole time. And like, I remember first time I read this, I was like, no fucking way Batman kills him. And now Batman fucking kills him. That was the
Super
biggest
interesting.
difference for me.
That's super interesting to me. Okay, go ahead, Vinny.
I want to start this off by saying, if you are a Batman fan or a comic fan in general, I think you should read this. This is one of those staple stories, and it's written by a legendary writer. It's beautifully drawn and colored by another great artist. The thing, for my own personal unpopular opinion,
Don't be controversial just to be controversial.
I'm not. It's craft. I'm not saying it's trash. It's craft. It's craft. It's just a lower craft than what you guys put it on. And
I put it on a 10. So.
And I also think it's because this was the first time I read it. Alan Moore is a very mysterious, smart fucking writer, so it takes a couple times to maybe reread to fully comprehend his genius. Because I was reading this graphic novel, and like I said, I was laughing to myself. There's some really great spots that I really enjoyed, but then that ending happened, and I honestly, it kind of pissed me off. I was like, this fucking sucks. And I think it was just because of how mysterious and abrupt the ending was. It built up so crazy, and then it told this joke that the joke pretty much described the entire story. Described the entire story, and then it just left me hanging. And I think because it left me hanging like that, I'm just going to give it a 7. Because I don't want to do decimals, and I think it's better than a 6.
I don't want to do decimals.
I'm
going to round up.
And the reason why is just because I think it's more of an emotional, just like personal opinion. Like I said, it's a freaking great piece of work, but it's definitely not my favorite. I think the artwork was more of the staple in this book than the writing. Writing was great, but then again, once I looked into the Red Hood thing, it's just kind of a retold story, just told differently by a clearly better writer. So So yeah, I give it a 7 just because it's good, it's craft, but I don't think it's as great as everybody says it is.
All right.
I mean, that's just my opinion. The art, I mean, like I said, I think the artwork was really what grabbed me. I think if the artwork wasn't the artwork, this might have been a trash for me.
Before Zach goes off, I just want to ask, do you think this is the most popular Batman comic of all time?
Who are you asking?
Yeah, who are you asking that?
Vinny. I'm asking Vinny.
Do I think this is the most popular comic book, Batman?
Yeah. From your wealth of knowledge, do you think there's a more popular Batman arc out there?
Possibly. Maybe Court of Owls. I don't know. Like,
okay.
This is definitely the most popular Joker story arc, and this is one of the most popular Batman story arcs, but I don't know if I would call it as the most popular. Trust me, like, I was looking at all the ratings and stuff, and I was like, damn, I'm definitely in the minority. Like,
I just want to hype it. I want to hype it up as much as I can before Zach gets going.
Tripping.
Yeah, no, that's
I'm trying to throw some gasoline on this baby.
Like, I'll reread it, but just like I think it was just the way it left me hanging at the very end was such a strong emotion for me that it overwhelmed everything else. Because, like I said, dude, it's a great book. It's short, so I like that too, and the artwork is phenomenal. Alan Moore is a great writer, but it's just Watchmen was better. V for Vendetta is better. Like,
I will say Watchmen's better, but that's because Watchmen's just its own thing.
Watchmen is really, really good. I've never read V for Vendetta. I don't think League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is better.
No, I don't think it's better.
No, but like all I'm saying is it's good. You should read it. I'm just not as praising as high as you guys.
All right. So just to recap, Vinny thinks the book is shit, and it's the most popular Batman arc of all time, and it's shit. Zach, you're on.
It's fucking trash.
So honestly, so I had a line like in my mind, and if you like crossed it like in your rating, I was gonna explode, and the line was 6 and 7. So if you would have went 6, I would have been pissed. 7, I feel like is right there, but I mean, here's the thing. Like,
he rounded up though. Go nuts.
I know he did, but even if he went 6, like who am I to tell you like what you should and shouldn't? Like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna take that stance.
Damn it!
I respect that.
Come on,
be who you are.
I respect,
but you're wrong. Here's the thing about this book, and I think honestly, Vinny, I'm looking forward to you reading it again because I think you might have a Jordan-esque experience, even though Jordan was pretty high on it in the beginning. There's so much going on here, and it's not always all face value things. Like, there's things that happen that on the surface might be upsetting. Like, for instance, when Gordon says, "Do it by the book." Like, when I first saw that, I was pissed because I was like, bro, that's the cheesiest shit I've ever seen. Like, you just got fucked. Why would you be like that guy? But there's so many other moving pieces at play that make that line super impactful. And the way it ends, how it's unsatisfying, can be super impactful if you scroll out like 50 more times and see like other things at play. And I think that that's just Alan Moore like flexing on us again, showing us how fucking talented this guy is. There's so much that happens in this book on different layers. Jordan said it perfectly. There's layers here. And if you read the book on a surface layer, then you're going to get like, but like if you dig deeper and see the other moving pieces, like if you see that you're not just fucking with ketchup anymore, but you got some spices, some brown sugar, some coriander, some paprika, you got barbecue sauce now, bruh.
Paprika?
You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much more going on.
I'm not disagreeing with you with your rebuttal. Exactly. Because after I was going into this discussion already kind of like thinking like I'm gonna be on the outside, but like you especially you, Zach, with your little insight on Batman and the Joker, you are slowly convincing me to at least reread it. To
please do
give it another try, because like I said, like it's not bad, it's a good book, but it just from hearing so many great things about it, I think for that first read I was expecting the greatest thing I've ever read, and that, like I said before, that the ending just rubbed me wrong. So I think that's kind of just, I think I have to reread it just because
Please do.
And
let's talk about it. Even on the next episode, we'll be talking about something else, but let's have a little pocket where I'm like,
the next episode will be about the movie.
What do you... Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. That'll be perfect.
All right, I'll make sure
we'll revisit.
I'll make sure to reread it before we...
We'll revisit.
Can you imagine if Zach worked at a used bookstore and just like he walked in like, dude, I don't want any of these books. He's like, hold it. This book right here.
How much time?
Let me tell you. How much time you got? Sit your ass down. Just, he could sell any fucking shitty book. This is a great book. He could sell any book to anybody. Like, just he can make a reason why this line is this way. This line is like he just has a way about it. So.
But that's like a misconception though. I couldn't sell any book. I'm only this like animated and passionate about the shit that I truly believe in. Like,
sure.
If I thought it was trash, like I'm just like, yeah, bro, it's trash. Like, and I can't pretend that it's like, let me try to sell this to you. Like, I'm a shitty salesperson, but I truly believe in this. Like, I truly believe in this, and so like that's where you're getting this passion. But anyway, yeah, I mean, obviously this book's trash, bro. It's a fucking 1. It's garbage.
One star?
No, it's a 10, dude. This is a masterpiece.
Yeah,
Masterpiece, Vinny. It's a masterpiece. It's a fucking it's for Elise, bro. It's a concerto, bro. Like it's a master at work, bro. And he's just like ever so slightly pulling strings and ever so slightly putting these dynamics in.
It's a Cabernet Sauvignon.
It's slight. That's what's so beautiful about it. It's not overt. It's slight and it's confident, and there's so much going on. And when you see it and when you hear it, all you can do is just say, like, I'm just appreciative to have that here, like this piece of art. It's a masterpiece. I've killed this bottle of wine, by the way. I don't know if you can tell.
Me too, dog.
Yeah.
Having a good time. Having a good time in Villains and Vineyards. But I believe this. Like, if you're listening to this and you've stuck through this entire thing and you haven't read The Killing Joke, please do.
No, you definitely should read
it.
Yes,
and in the comments, let me know what you think. Am I wrong? Am I right? Because I'm telling you, I truly believe this is a masterpiece, and I'd love to have the conversation with you and anybody else that either agrees or disagrees. Like, I'm open to all types of opinions, but I think this is like a truly great artist at the peak of his powers, proving it.
Boom. All right, that makes it a 9 around the group, and with a 7 on the marker, like I'll take that. Killing Joke is fucking great, and yes, if you haven't read it, go pick it up. I would recommend the graphic novel over the animated movie, but that's my personal preference.
Agreed.
Let's do a quick roundtable before plugs and just talk about what we think the movie's going to be and what we're excited about. Vinny, do you have any thoughts on what you expect to see?
Honestly, my only intuition coming into this movie is like expect the unexpected, because first of all, Todd Phillips, I discussed last episode what his prior movies were. Like, this isn't his typical formula, so...
Can you refresh me? What were his prior movies?
So he got nominated for an Academy Award for a screenplay of Borat. He wrote and directed all 3 Hangover movies. He wrote and directed Starsky and Hutch, the one with Ben Stiller and
it's actually
Owen
a great,
Wilson.
underrated movie.
And he produced A Star Is Born, the one with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga.
That movie's amazing.
That movie's really good, but it's also just...
Don't let Zach go on Star Is Born. Don't let him talk about it.
He just produced it.
I'm not going to talk about Sar Is Born.
He just produced it, so you don't know any
I'm like in a deep
creativity
mood,
into
and so
it.
maybe it's correct to just skip this.
But
I kind of want to hear it.
I think the movie's going to be freaking great because Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor. Todd Phillips has already made the statement that he wrote this movie with his team for Joaquin Phoenix. That was the only actor they sought out for the Joker, so if Joaquin Phoenix didn't want to do this movie may have never even been made. So I'm excited just as a film nerd myself. That is the main reason why I'm excited for this movie. It's because when a team of filmmakers and actors and film crew get together and like make something together as a group other than just like these big names all being mashed up into one project, like I think this is going to be probably DC's best movie. And I mean, that's not saying anything, but
chill.
Anyway,
dude, better than Green Lantern? Are you fucking kidding me?
The Dark Knight trilogy? Chill.
I think this will be DC's best movie, though.
Better than Arrow? What the fuck?
What are we talking about here?
Joker.
Just
the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, making fun of
DC.
Nolan.
I think this will be.
That's saying so much.
My God.
It's also going to be a completely different
You gave
movie.
this a 6, dog. You think this movie's going to be better than the Dark Knight
It's
trilogy?
also, Dark Knight trilogy is carried by Dark Knight. Let's just put that out there.
Like, this is
it's one great
Joker
movie surrounded by
solo.
2 okay movies.
I think it's nice that we have this comic
I don't necessarily
knowledge.
agree with that.
That we have this
Bullshit.
comic knowledge going into this movie. It'll make us appreciate it a little bit more. And for those people who are listening, I think you'll appreciate the movie a little bit more. But overall, I think it's going to be a great movie. And we're going to come back next week and talk about it and like talk about how fucking great it was. Or maybe, who knows, it might be fucking, I don't know, might not be that great.
What's your prediction? What's your prediction on Craft or Trash?
Oh, like a number or just the
Number.
Ooh, for the movie?
Yes.
On air, bro. On the books.
I'll say
Zach has a
I'll say
rough
8.
experience.
I got a bad history with this.
I'll say 8.
8. That's safe. That's safe
It's
and
pretty
strong.
safe, dude. That's
Safe
pretty
and strong.
safe.
It's a strong. It's
But,
not
like,
a 7.
also,
It's
like,
pretty strong.
You know
yeah,
what?
it's pretty
Like,
strong. But it's a
we're
safety
talking
strong.
about film. I'm talking about like if we were just rating.
We're
comic
talking
book
about film.
films,
I don't
it's
like
different.
movies. I love
We're
film.
Rating all film.
Let me just tell you. So this guy gave it an 8 and said that it's going to be the best DC movie that's ever been made. So you're telling me that no movie from the Dark Knight trilogy was better than an 8?
Yeah.
In your opinion, that is.
You don't think the Dark
a
Knight
tough
is
pill
better
for
than
me to
an 8,
swallow.
bro?
And we could talk about all this shit, and I could get into films.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit too deep in this section, but I just want
The
to tell
Dark
you,
Knight's not better than
that's
an
a
8.
tough pill for me to
Heath
swallow.
Ledger's
bro.
not better than an 8, dog. All
That
right.
is a tough pill for me to swallow. All right, go
All
ahead.
right, Z. Follow it up. No, follow it. I want to close this one out. I got some things I want to say.
think this movie's going to be pretty good. I don't think it's going to follow the story arc word for word of The Killing Joke. I think this director is in a unique position to succeed here because I think comedy and tragedy, like Batman and Joker, are 2 sides of the same coin.
I like that.
And so I'm going to give this... I think this movie's going to be really fucking good. I'm going to give it a 9.
All right.
I think this movie's going to be up there with the greats, but I'm not going to say it's going to be the best DC movie ever.
All right, so we got 8 and 9. Quick question for you guys. Have you guys ever seen Joaquin Phoenix's movie, I'm Still Here?
No.
Yes.
You have, Vinny?
Yes.
Okay, so Zach, this movie is what I am expecting for Joker. So I'm Still Here is a documentary where Casey Affleck followed Joaquin Phoenix around with a camera for like 6 months. And Joaquin Phoenix literally in real life quit acting to become a rapper.
Yeah.
And like went on talk shows and they like did this, had rap shows, met with Diddy to record, and Diddy was on the movie, and it was like this whole it was doing blow and fucking hookers
Dude, he went
in the movie.
loony. He went loony.
He went deep dive into this character, and then at the end of it was like, yeah, it was all for a movie, it was all a joke. And like the world was just like, what the fuck?
What
and
movie?
it's called I'm Still
Yeah,
Here.
I'm Still Here,
That's
yeah.
why I asked if you've seen it.
The movie.
That's
Is,
the whole thing.
okay.
Is like
Yeah.
I'm Joaquin Phoenix. I'm
Oh, I
Still
thought this.
Here.
I thought this whole documentary was the movie.
That's
what I'm saying.
That's what it is. It's a mockumentary.
It's
Oh,
a
it's a
mockumentary.
mockumentary.
So he did it to fool the public and then put it out as a movie. And I've watched it with like 5 different people, and I'm the only one that, well, me and Davis are the only ones that love it. And everybody else thinks it's really fucking weird.
I mean,
And
it is weird, but it's good.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking this is. I think Joker is going to be fucking weird.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be good, but I don't think everybody's going to love it.
Well, one thing that I read that Joaquin Phoenix did for this role was he studied. I can't remember the correct term for the disease, but it's a disease where people have it's uncontrollable laughter. So they laughed during a very strong emotional time. So even when they're very sad, they start laughing. When they're angry, they start laughing and stuff. So Joaquin Phoenix studied film of those types of patients for this
Dude,
movie.
of course he did. He was on a stage rapping a terrible rap song knowingly
Dude.
to do it with a he dives into the stands and fights somebody
Yeah.
because they're talking shit to him on stage.
Dude.
Like he's a lunatic.
Zach,
like,
you
I'm
should
saying,
watch it just for shits and giggles because it's
You should watch.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. For everybody that's about to go watch Joker this weekend, go watch I'm Still Here. It's on Amazon. You can buy it or order it, rent it, and you'll. This is what I think the vibe's going to be. I think that honestly, Todd Phillips says it's not a story arc because they just like let's put face paint on Joaquin and let him fucking go, and he's just going to get fucking weird with it, and it's going to be
Dude,
awesome.
I wouldn't doubt it, man.
So, in my personal opinion, I'm going to give it a 9 because I think it's going to be fantastic. But from a public, I think it's gonna be like in the six range.
Well, it's getting amazing reviews though.
But it's also gotten hateful reviews. I read that it's either
I haven't
great,
seen bad reviews.
It's
yet.
either great or you hate it. Like it's
that's
trash.
what I've seen. It's either you hate it or love it.
So I think it's going to be super weird, and people are either going to love it or they're going to hate it. I don't think there's going to be a lot of middle ground.
What
so
a
I think
fucking good time to be a comic book fan.
I know,
Right?
dude. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
What a time to be alive, bro.
Oh, man.
This is good. This is good stuff right here.
So that puts the movie at an 8.7, which would be phenomenal. I just think it's going to be in the 6 range because I think there's going to be a lot of people that like want to see a DC movie and they're going to see a weird fucking Joker trip.
artistic movie.
Which is what DC
Yes.
needs
Yes.
to stay alive.
Yes.
I agree.
Stop trying to be Marvel. Be
Yeah.
yourself.
Be
Do the
dark.
shit that works for you.
Be weird.
Please.
Yeah.
Get
Get weird
fucking
with
weird.
it.
Yeah.
Get weird.
Yeah.
Get weird with it.
Let's
so I'm
go.
very excited about it. All right. So with that, let's go into plugs. Anything you guys want to shout out?
Same stuff, bro. rzenith.com. All the podcasts uploaded on rzenith. Follow us at rzenith at Twitter and at rzenith on Instagram. And stay tuned, bro. We chilling.
Yeah.
Hey, we just did a Tekashi. We did a 2-part episode on Sleep Easy last week. Tekashi 6ix9ine. We split the episodes up. The first episode, part 1, is the events leading up to Tekashi's arrest in 2018. And then the part 2 episode is Tekashi's actual trial. So what happens during the trial and the effects on the culture and everything like that. So if you're into hip hop or you're curious or you just have seen these memes and you're just like, what does this mean? It's kind of funny. Sleep Easy is a podcast on Zenith, and we just did a deep dive 2-part episode on everything you need to know about Tekashi 6ix9ine and his whole entire experience and the Joker in real life. Honestly, fucking.
I was
clown.
gonna say, if you're gonna go see Joker, listen to this episode. That's
if
perfect.
you're gonna go see Joker, you should listen to these 2 podcasts on Sleep Easy too, because it might put you in the right mindset. But yeah, anyway, so
Seriously.
if you're into it, you should check it out. Sleep Easy Pod or at Pod Sleep on Instagram, and we're on every major player. And yeah, that's crazy. It's just crazy. That's all I'll say. It's crazy.
I'm excited for that, man. Excited for that. Vin, you got anything, bro?
Yeah, I got some more like sad news, I guess, but I'll start with just saying that this Ace of Spades Hopworks Urban Brewery, man, this is some good shit. I'm gonna try some of your other stuff. That's some good beer. But no. Oh, actually, I just got some great news. Just because we're recording this will be late news for everybody listening. But I just got the notification. My Seattle Sounders just won 1-0.
Oh.
So that's good news.
Seahawks win, Sounders win. Good
That's
day.
a good day. But anyways, the sad news that I wanted to bring up to you is, first of all, my X-Men Kokora plant died.
Really?
Yeah.
fuck.
It's an outdoor plant. It needs full sun. So I left it outside to grow, and it's been doing really well.
See what happens when people vote for Cyclops?
But-
they fucking kill the
What
X-Men.
the fuck
Anyway,
are we
dude.
talking about here?
In your
we've
poll.
been having some hard.
How did we get there?
We've been having some hard rainstorms in Washington here, and I thought it was undercover, but it wasn't. So it drowned. Not plant's
It's Cyclops'
gone.
fault.
Other sad news is one of my favorite Tacoma comic shops, Destiny City Comics, is closing. So they will be having a closing sale. You can go buy whatever's left there. They got some good shit. You're gonna get it for cheap. I know there's it's not Kickstarter but it's something similar to that. It's not GoFundMe. I can't remember exactly, but there's a page out there for them too. Someone I think is gonna try to buy it and keep it running. So if you're into that kind of stuff, keeping local comic book shops going, you could always check that out on their Destiny City Comics Instagram and whatnot of the info. Or if you want to get some sweet deals on some good comics, go ahead down there before they close. I think they're gonna finish up here in October, so they'll be open through October, but once November hits, they won't be there no more. So
Sad days, dude.
yep.
Damn, man.
Sad days.
Yeah, go out and buy some fucking comics. If you want to read something, like go out and buy The Killing Joke in the deluxe edition. It's a book that deserves to be appreciated.
It's a really nice
in print
hardcover edition,
in your hands. It is really cool, and just go
Plus,
out
we
and
gotta
support
support
these
these comic book shops, man. These local comic book shops, bro. They're doing the good work, the Lord's work to the communities, bro. So
Exactly,
we gotta
man.
keep them running.
This show that we host is basically what happens when you go to a comic book shop with a buzz. You just go and you just fucking argue and debate and talk and catch up.
And plus, we had a live show in the comic book shop, you know, and if we could do another live show inside a comic book shop, that'd be great.
We will.
We got to keep
100%.
We got to keep them open, though. We got to keep them open.
Yeah, shout out to Action City. Absolutely. And yeah, just as always, follow us at Hop Heroes Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Hop Heroes on Facebook and YouTube. Shout out to my boy Nate McAllister. He was one of the OG fans from the start. He was on our live show. He's got his own podcast now going called Fantasy on Tap, which is the most insightful fantasy podcast I've ever listened to. He goes down to the very split, like, snap percentage of players. Like, how many snaps is this player getting on the field to, like, decide if you want to put him in your fantasy lineup? He gets deep. He does a deep dive. He's like the Zach Barlow of fantasy football.
That's why I stopped asking you questions this year, Jordan.
Yeah, dude. Oh, you got your own insight, bro. I see you. But
I'm 4-0, Nate. I'm 4-0, Nate. 4-0, baby.
On a real note, dude. Check out our Zenith. There's a lot of great things going on there. Like Tectonic Shifts is fucking interesting and scary. Sleep Easy is dope and it's fucking in depth. And I can't wait to read the fucking crazy shit on your boy 6ix9ine. But also, I think it sounds like you got a new guy coming on board potentially.
We do. We have a video game streamer coming on board. Here's the thing about this guy. He's super interesting. He's a psychology master's student. Is going to be a streamer. He's going to play games, and he's also going to answer your and psychoanalyze your questions, bro. He's trying to provide mental health through streaming.
Hell yeah.
And so I'm like super fucking hyped about this shit because he's gonna build his audience. He's gonna have people on the stream. He's gonna run through our Zenith, and he's gonna fucking, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna take the wealth, bro, and just push out them good vibes, man, through the stream. And so I'm stoked about this guy. He's gonna be amazing. His name is Lord Speak. You can hear him right now. He's got his own Twitch channel right now. So it's Lord Speak, SHPEAK. But yeah, he's the newest addition to the family, so I'm really excited to bring him on, and we're working on some other stuff too. So we'll keep you updated.
Yeah, dude, I followed him on Twitch. He was playing the Modern Warfare beta that was out pretty recently, and I was watching him play that for a little bit. Yeah. He was running shit. I will say that. I followed Lord Speak.
Yeah. A lot of great things happen on our Zenith, man, and just follow the Yellow Brick Road, bro. We got a lot of creatives on one site to give you whatever you're looking for. But thank you so much for listening. Next week we'll be recapping the movie. Go out and see it, but I would recommend watching I'm Still Here and reading The Killing Joke before you see it. I think you'll fully be able to enjoy Joaquin and the Joker in full effect. All right, you guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next week.